You're sitting by a fire 50,000 years ago. No phone, no dating app, no way to message anyone. There are maybe 30 people in your entire world. You've known all of them since birth, and somewhere in that tiny group, you're supposed to find the person you'll spend your life with. There are no rules, no weddings, no one to ask permission from. So how exactly did that work? Here's the thing. We treat love and partnership like a modern invention. Like romance is something humans figured out recently, somewhere between the printing press and the smartphone. But your ancestors were falling for each other hundreds of thousands of years before any of that existed. Let's start with the problem. Because the problem was serious. For most of human prehistory, we lived in small bands, anywhere from 20 to 50 people. That was your entire social universe. Your family, your friends, your rivals, and your potential partners, all in the same group, all day, every day, for your entire life. By the time you were old enough to think about a partner, you'd already grown up alongside every single person in your band. You knew who snored. You knew who panicked during hunts. You knew who ate more than their share when food was scarce. And here's the important part. Most of them were related to you. In a group of 25 people, a significant portion are cousins, siblings, or close kin, which meant the actual pool of viable partners was tiny. Maybe 3 or 4 people your age, your rough social standing, and not closely related to you. That's it. That's the entire menu. Modern dating gives you the illusion of infinite choice. Ancient humans had the opposite problem. Not too many options, not enough. So what did they do? They left. Not permanently, not alone. But ancient humans had a system that anthropologists now call exogamy, the practice of finding partners outside your own group. And the evidence for it is written directly into our DNA. Genetic studies of ancient human remains show clear patterns of movement. Women in particular frequently move between bands at reproductive age. Their mitochondrial DNA, which passes only through the mother, shows up in locations far from where their paternal relatives lived, which means young women were regularly leaving their birth group and joining another. Not kidnapped, not sold. Moving, often with some degree of choice, to join a neighboring band where the faces were new and the gene pool was different. This wasn't random. Bands that lived in the same region knew each other. They met at seasonal hunting grounds, at river crossings, at places where food concentrated. These gatherings were the prehistoric equivalent of a social event, and they served a very specific biological purpose. You met people outside your group, you evaluated them, sometimes you stayed. But choice is a complicated word here, because it wasn't entirely free. Physical capability mattered enormously. In a world where survival was daily work, a partner who couldn't hunt, couldn't carry, couldn't fight, was a genuine liability. Studies of modern hunter-gatherer groups show that the best hunters consistently attract more partners. Not because of wealth, they had none, but because skill meant food. Food meant your children survived. It was that direct. But here's what surprises most people. It wasn't only about strength. Anthropologist Kim Sterelny argues that social intelligence was just as valued, maybe more. The person who remembered where water was last summer. The one who could read animal behavior and predict where the herd would move. The one who kept the group calm during a crisis. These weren't soft skills, they were survival skills, and people noticed them. Generosity was attractive too. In a band of 30, everyone watched everyone. The person who shared meat when they didn't have to, who helped carry a sick member, who gave without being asked, that person was trusted. And trust in a world without contracts or laws was the most valuable thing you could offer a partner. So ancient courtship wasn't dinner and conversation, it was observation. Weeks, sometimes months, of watching someone in real conditions. You didn't ask someone on a date, you watched how they behaved when things went wrong. And then there was something else entirely. Something that doesn't fit the brutal survival narrative at all. In Sunghir, Russia, archaeologists excavated a burial site from around 34,000 years ago. 2 children buried head to head, surrounded by thousands of hand-carved ivory beads. Someone spent years of collective labor making these children beautiful for burial. That's not survival behavior. That's love. At multiple prehistoric sites across Europe and Africa, archaeologists find evidence of ochre, a red mineral pigment, ground into powder and used to color skin and hair. Body decoration appears in the archaeological record over 100,000 years ago, long before agriculture, long before civilization. Humans were making themselves attractive to each other. They were trying to be seen, because underneath all the practical calculations, something else was happening. The same thing that happens now. People were drawn to each other in ways they couldn't entirely explain or control. The archaeological record gives us paired burials, grave goods placed with care, bodies positioned facing each other. Evidence that some bonds mattered beyond utility, that some partnerships were chosen not just because they were practical, but because something pulled two people together, and neither of them wanted to let go. Love didn't start with romance novels or wedding ceremonies, it started here. Around a fire in the dark, in a world full of things trying to kill you. And the fact that it survived all of that it kept showing up in the bones and the burials and the careful red-stained hands, tells you something important. It wasn't a luxury, it was part of what made us human. Today you have algorithms designed to find your perfect match. Filters for height, job, distance, interests, more data on potential partners than any human in history has ever had. And still somehow finding the right person feels impossibly hard. Your ancestors did it with 30 people, no language beyond what they could say out loud, and a world that could end any of them on any given night. And some of them still managed to find someone worth being buried next to. Maybe the tools were never the problem.